Hey guys, so we're back with another video. First of all, happy April to everyone. Now, let's get right into business. So American Horror Story is one of the most prolific TV show of all time. It's been running for nearly a decade and a half. We have seen so many things from this show that it's not to question how great the show is. It may have its up and downs, but always brings things on the table that makes us think, get scared, and make us even think about our own society. So American Horror Story creator Ryan Murphy has created so many different universes from this season. It's not to question what great of a season each are. Let's roll the opening credits. So we are finally back to American Horror Story Season 2 of my What If episode. Now we're jumping the scale. Now we already know that tonight we will be covering more of Bleach, Thousand Year Blood War arc, but let's get right into certain important things. So while I was just brainstorming some new content, a lot came up for American Horror Story. And, I literally wanted to share this with my fans, with my Cosmic Reporters Club. You guys, like I always say, you guys always leave such amazing comments on my channel. And like I mentioned, we did plan a next installment of my What If series. So the first episode, which will be part of this entire video, it is titled, When Did Fiona Lost It All? This is a reminder of when Fiona mentioned to Cordelia that the reason why she became the next Supreme is that she had to die first in order for Cordelia to ascend to the throne. Which means throughout history, she is the legitimate Supreme only that created another Supreme by birth. Which means, who did Fiona give her soul to prior to giving birth to Cordelia? And is Cordelia the only child that Fiona has? There's a lot of questions that American Horror Story has left open for the viewers to question. And as a big time American Horror Story fan, it was such an amazing time to brainstorm what did she meant by that. Fiona is probably one of the most interesting characters to me because we really don't know that much from her, knowing that I know that she married 3 times or 2 times, and her last name or her full name she got from her husband, and her husband died over the years, and she ended up getting her persona or her wealth, his will. She ended up getting that, and she was already a very powerful person already, but I think by marrying a billionaire or so, she cemented, and that's how she has so many different clinics, different places around the world. Because if you mention, the first time we saw Fiona, she was leaving or coming back from a round trip, and she even told Cordelia that, jet lagging is something that she's not fond of, but she always managed to look glamorous. But what I find interesting about Fiona is that how little she cares for her coven, but at the same time, at the end, I think they did her justice by explaining that she always had that fear in her back of her mind that somebody's gonna take her power, but she just don't know who. But I think at the last minute it clicked to her that maybe it would be her daughter that would take her power, because she's the only legitimate child of a Supreme. Because from what I've learned is that all the Supremes tend to not have a successor that's like their own child or so. Fiona's the only one that's like that, and that's a question I think nobody's ready to have. And prior to that, I feel as if she could have done much more, and by doing much more, she was able to allow herself to be vulnerable. And I think Fiona is the type of character where she likes to cover all her ends. She don't want people to find out like what weakness she has. And I think that's something that during the last few episodes of the season 3, spoiler alerts, how one of my favorite songs by Stevie Nicks was being played, and Fiona finally came to a realization that, there'll come a day that I won't be the Supreme anymore. There'll come a day that everything that I have tried to stay youthful has gone out the window. Even by her sacrificing Nan with Mary Laveau, that didn't came out to be too successful. So at the end of the day, Fiona felt drained from not only trying to somewhat protect the coven, but came to a conclusion that no matter what she has done, her faith was already sealed the moment she ended up getting the responsibility of the coven placed on her. Because her previous mentor mentioned that, yes, like, to have the power of a Supreme is wonderful. Like, nobody can stop you. You could do whatever you want. Like, you could go out in the world, destroy things, or resurrect yourself back. But there'll come a time everything will come to a stop, and you may have to give your crown to the next generation. And I think her sitting there and analyzing that, she took her inheritance too soon. She killed the previous Supreme thinking that she's gonna last even forever. But even Cordelia mentioned that, yes, being Supreme is not something to be proud of. It's also sometimes it's the weight or it's the responsibility that you carry as Supreme that shuns fear into each previous Supreme, that like you must be there for the betterment of your people. You must always find ways to have a replacement, and you must always put your needs, before the after the coven. Like, you can never see yourself being first. You have to always keep yourself reminding that yes, you have all this power, but this power is not just yours, it's for everyone's, because you're the pillar that keeps the coven alive, or the generation. And Fiona, as we know, she shung away all her problems. She drank her problems away, like they said. And I think Fiona, by looking at that view of Fiona, and her at the last minute was trying to come to a realization that, I try to find love in the most odd places by trying to fall in love with a ghost or the Axeman. And the Axeman over the years, if I'm not mentioning, I'm not sure if he was a ghost or an entity, because the Supreme could literally see ghosts and all that stuff. But coming to realization that I tried everything, but that didn't work. And at the last minute, like I said, Fiona came to a conclusion that I gave everything I got, and I'm still gonna be destroyed, or I'm still gonna go to hell. Or even better yet, I even try to make a deal with the lower or the gatekeeper of hell, and even him denied. Even hell didn't want her. She came to a point like, nobody wants me, like, and I have to live with that. I think that was probably the most heartbreaking and saddest thing. But the way she treats other people, I think that's what she ended up getting in return. Now, moving forward from that, I think what I could have seen they did, if Fiona would have find a way to regain her supremacy powers. And we saw that little glimpse of that when she killed all the potential Supreme candidates, which is shocking because they actually added Myrtle Snow into there too. And we know that Myrtle Snow and her are like rivals since the coven days of her youth. So the fact that if Cordelia or Myrtle Snow would have been the Supreme, or even one of those young girls, Fiona would have found better ways to get rid of them. And I think, if American Horror Story would have took that route, where instead of Cordelia coming back and welcoming the whole new coven, it was Fiona that came back and be like, what are you guys so shocked about? Didn't you know this was going to happen? And And Zoe would have probably been like, you killed your own daughter just to be supreme again. Fiona was like, well, there's gonna be a different change around here. Like, that would have been so shocking, and so be like, that would be like, that's so Fiona. Like, she would sacrifice even her child just to gain her power and her youth. But at the last minute, I think Fiona was good. She was like more of a anti-hero, I believe. Like, she may like you, she may mess with you, but at the end of the day, she's out for herself and for herself only. And I think, you know, I would love for them to like give a more of a backstory on that. Like, when did Fiona really lost her soul or her humanity? Because I feel as if as this supreme power gets into you, if you don't know how to control it, it may sometimes corrupt you like really, really bad. And I think Fiona got to a point where she's not a villain, she's actually a victim, because she took her inheritance too soon, and she thought that by getting all that power she could literally stop the world. But instead, everything started plunging in even more by having that power. So it kind of explained, like, even by having powers like that, it actually hinders her, instead of like putting her in a pedestal where she actually could do whatever she wants, you know. And we always saw that even in the series, that if we flash forward to Apocalypse, how Cordelia to me is probably one of the best Supremes of all time. Like, she actually ended up getting more powerful because she was finding ways to protect the coven either way from Michael Langdon. Like, and I wish that I think if they didn't mention that, Fiona could suck the life out of like an entire person, and Michael could destroy a soul where it came to a point where it's non-existent. So in a weird way, if Fiona was in Apocalypse, how good would she fare with Michael? Because I think she would play Michael to a point where, because even Michael's body is older, his mentality is still a child, and he's being told by his dad to do like all these bad things because he's destined to destroy the world. So Fiona may use this as an advantage instead of as a disadvantage, and she wouldn't care how many people she had to sacrifice to get to that point. But that's what makes Cordelia different from Fiona. And, you know, you guys can leave a comment and agree with what I said, but I really think that, you know, like looking at throughout the years of how Fiona treated her coven, and how Cordelia, when she became supreme, even though exposing the coven actually was a good and a bad thing, because the Hawthorne school for the exceptional young men end up getting shunned for being themselves, and it's like the reality swap, like one side gave the better end of the stick. So looking at all these activities and what went down, it's not surprising that Fiona, when you come back, which Ares, which he is the chancellor for the men's coven, said that, you know, Fiona would have never, you know, sit with us and like trying to negotiate, because Fiona already see a lot of people as lessers. So the fact that Cordelia is the only supreme that trying to find a middle ground with not only the tribe of Voodoo, but the tribe of the Hawthorne. So let me know what you guys think. And let's keep a moment of silence for Lance Reddick, who is also the actor that played Papa Legba. I heard that news that he sadly passed away at the age of, I think, 60 or 50. And I think that is so sad. You know, he played in 2 seasons, which was season 3 as well as season 8. You know, his first appearance was with the episode of A Delight with Stevie Nicks, which was, I think, episode 10. It was so sad hearing that news, and I'm still disbelief about that, because he played the Haitian Loa, which is the Papa Legba, which is the gatekeeper of the underworld. And the fact that he passed away, I don't think it's gonna be very hard finding a replacement, because he played the character so well. And it's sad that the Papa Legba character is not only a real character, but is part of a religious collective as a whole. Like, it's in the Haitian religion, which is voodoo. And it also somewhat has a tie-in to New Orleans as well. So it's very sad to see Lance Reddick passed away. He played the character so well that I think it's gonna be very hard for someone to top that. From the mannerism to like the way he brought the character to life, with even the dark humor that he talks. I'm very sad to hear that. We have a lot of American Horror Story characters or people that passed away that we didn't know about, and this one hits very hard, because he not only played in that, he played in The Wire, he played in so many different shows and TV shows, and the fact that he passed away, it's very hard. So for all of my American Horror Story fans, let's just pray for the family, condolences to the family, and thank you guys for episode 1 of my season 2 of my What If episode. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel. There's 2 more videos coming up. Bye bye.